Hey, Darnell Dolphins, it's Mr. Silva. Thank you for joining me. We are going to continue with our discussion about dealing with challenges and growth mindset, and just thinking more about that and how big of an impact that can have on us. So we're just going to keep kind of talking about those things because I know right now learning from home can be really frustrating. Maybe you feel like giving up, maybe you just want to avoid it. And so let's talk about different things you can try and why it's important. Today, we're going to focus on positive thinking. So, this is what we're going to talk about today: coping skills. Some of you might remember that term, some of you might not. That's okay. We're going to talk about it a little bit more, and the power of positive thinking, the power of just your mindset and the thoughts that go through your mind each day. So, did you know that you have the power to change your feelings? So, if you're feeling really down or um, overwhelmed, frustrated, sad, you do have the power to try to change that to a more positive feeling. And one way that you can do that is through using coping skills. So, coping skills are the way that we work through and we deal with something that's really hard. And when something's hard, that usually involves some really big emotions. So, be able to focus. Here is a list of a lot of different coping skills. We're not going to be able to get through all these, but this is something that you could hit pause and you could take a look at. And so let's talk about a few of these. A lot of these involve going outside. So you see a lot of these pictures with trees. So just taking a break outside, going near a tree, um, that can really, really help your mood. And right now we're stuck inside a lot. And maybe you go through the whole day and you don't even realize how long it's been since you've been outside or had sunshine. So, right now for me, that has been my number one coping skill is when I'm feeling kind of blah or just I can't focus as well, I always make sure I go and I step into the sun. I try to walk around a little bit. And that's really easy and simple, right? That's something that we can all do, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. But there's a lot of other ideas on here. Um, just getting a drink of water, or if you like warm drinks, it says a cup of tea. Um, that can also really lift you up and can make a big difference. We also have on here to take slow, mindful breaths. That's another really simple coping skill that completely changes everything going on in your body. So, the most important thing to remember, no matter what type of breathing you focus on, is just keeping those breaths really slow and breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. So, whether you call it belly breathing, deep breathing, whether you count for 5 when you inhale and 5 while you exhale, there's so many different ways you can practice breathing. But the biggest thing is just to keep it nice and slow and controlled, and in through your nose and out through your mouth, right? Okay, so there's so many others on here. We're going to come back to this another time, But those are a few that I wanted to talk about today. So the one that I didn't mention yet was thinking positive thoughts. By thinking more positive thoughts, that can be one of the most powerful coping skills that can help you in a tough situation. So, we've been talking about these challenges we're facing and what we can do about it. I've talked to you about growth mindset, and I just want to keep emphasizing that we all have thoughts in our head, and the more we try to change those thoughts to be as positive as possible can have the biggest impact on our day, and not just with schoolwork, but with everything that we do. So, the way that you think affects the way that you feel, which then affects the way that you act, right? Because if I'm thinking really negatively, then I'm probably going to feel pretty crappy. And then everyone's going to see that in the way that I act. I'm going to have a frown. I'm going to look slumped over. I'm not going to be a very nice person to be around. But if I try to think of things in a positive way, like, wow, I have so much work to do, but I'm going to write down a list. I'm going to check it off. And today's a beautiful day. There's sunshine. So, in between every assignment that I finish, I'm going to go outside and soak in the beautiful sun. And then I'm going to come back and finish my list. See all these positive ways that I'm talking to myself? That's making me feel better. That gives me more energy, makes me feel happier, and it just makes me want to do more and have a better day. So everything is connected, and it all starts with our thoughts. And the more positive that you think, then the better you're going to feel and the better you're going to act. So, this is maybe a story that you've heard or listened to a long time ago. I know that it's maybe a little bit for younger students, but it has an important lesson. So we're going to watch this story and then talk about it a little bit because it relates to everything that we're talking about.
Giraffes Can't Dance.
Written by Giles Andrea, illustrated by Guy Parker Reese.
Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim.
But his knees were awfully crooked, and his legs were rather thin.
He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees.
But when he tried to run around,
he buckled at the knees.
Now every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance,
where every single animal turns up to skip and prance.
And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad.
Because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing.
The rhinos rock and rolled.
The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold.
The chipsog did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel.
And 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel.
Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor.
But the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar.
Hey, look at clumsy Gerald, the animals all sneered.
Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird.
Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot.
They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot.
So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home.
He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone.
Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky.
The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh.
Excuse me, coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to.
With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin.
Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing.
His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground.
His neck was gently swaying and his tail was swishing round.
He threw his legs out sideways and he swung them everywhere.
Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air.
Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide.
I'm dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I'm dancing! Gerald cried.
Then, one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance
Arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced.
they shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream!"
Gerald is the best dancer that we've ever seen.
How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how.
But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow.
Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above.
We all can dance, he said, when we find music that we love.
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that. Let's think about what made Gerald's second attempt more successful. What was it that changed? What happened when Gerald thought negative towards himself? He thought, I'm useless. He felt that, which made him feel sad and alone. And then that affected his actions. He totally froze up and he left the dance floor. So because he felt bad, then he felt sad, and then he just gave up and he left. Overall, with anything, that's not what we want to happen, right? That's not the outcome that we want. So then when he changed his thoughts, he thought, I can dance. He felt more happy. He felt more confident. He was excited. And then his actions obviously changed because he danced. He did somersaults, he leapt. So Gerald didn't take dance lessons, right? Nothing changed about Gerald's abilities. The only thing that changed was his thoughts and his mindset. The cricket was able to give Gerald a new positive perspective. So once Gerald believed in himself, he could dance. And this is an example of the power of positive thinking. So this is just one example. We are going to stop here for today. And then next time, we're going to talk more about how you can be positive. So we're going to talk more about strategies or tools, things that can help you to be positive. For now, I want you to just try your best. And when you notice that you're feeling really down, try to think, oh, what was I thinking before I started feeling like that? And try to change that to a more positive thought. And that can have an impact on everything that you do. All right. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everybody.